Hello students, welcome to the class. So today we are going on with the same chapter, the continuation. So what is the chapter? Photosynthesis in higher plants, isn't it? So today we are going to discuss about the light reaction of photosynthesis. So basically speaking, the photosynthesis can be divided into two reactions. One is the light reaction and another one is your dark reaction. Light reaction takes place in the presence of light and dark reaction takes place in the absence of light. Okay. So this light reaction, since it is taking place in the presence of light, the photons, the light energy is involved, it can also be called as photochemical reaction. So with the help of light, some chemical reaction is taking place. That's why we can also call it as photochemical phase of the photosynthesis. Or we can also call it as Hill's reaction. Another name is what? Hill's reaction, because Robert Hill is the one who discovered this process. That's why we can also call it as what? The Hill's reaction. So this is regarding the light reaction of photosynthesis. In detail we are going to learn about what? The light reaction. Now, where does this light reaction takes place? The light reaction takes place in the grana. So in the chlorophyll, when you are drawing, you have learned thylakoids, stack-like structures in stacks they are present. So they call it as grana. So in the thylakoids of grana only what is taking place? The photosynthesis, light reaction of photosynthesis is taking place. So this phase, basically speaking, depends upon light, and the pigments absorb light energy and they are producing what? ATP, NADP, H, and they are also releasing oxygen. That is what is taking place in light reaction. So it includes light absorption. So light is absorbed, water is splitted, the water is getting splitted up, it's broken and it is getting splitted up, okay, into different components. Oxygen is released and ATP and NADPH2 is produced. So this is the main importance of what this light reaction. So light is absorbed. This light helps in splitting of water. In this process, oxygen is released and ATP and NADPH2 is produced. Okay. So this ATP and NADPH2 is very important for the dark reaction to take place. If ATP and NADPH2 is not produced, then the dark reaction cannot take place. So light is playing a major role. In the absence of light, photosynthesis is not possible. Okay. Now listen students, the light reaction of photosynthesis. This light reaction of photosynthesis is divided into two types. Okay. So one is cyclic and another one is non-cyclic. So one is cyclic photoposterization. Okay. So photoposterization is a process. So one is cyclic and another one is non-cyclic. So light reaction is divided into two portions. It means two types, sorry, not two portions, two types. So what are they? One is cyclic photoposterization and second one is non-cyclic photoposterization. So light reaction. First we are going to discuss non-cyclic electron flow or non-cyclic photoposterization. Okay, listen carefully what I am going to say. Yeah, so this is non-cyclic photoposterization or non-cyclic electron flow. I told you how many photosystems are there? Two photosystems, photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. Photosystem 1 is at 700 and photosystem 2 is at 680 nanometer of wavelength of light. Now what is going to happen? Listen carefully. Sunlight is falling on photosystem 2 as well as the sunlight is falling on photosystem 1. Okay, so light is falling on photosystem 1 as well as sunlight is falling on photosystem 2. Which means the sunlight is falling on the chlorophyll. So when the sunlight is falling, these are the two photosystems which are getting activated, because there only you can find what is present, the chlorophyll A as well as the antenna complexes, other pigments which are harvesting all the light energy in these two regions. One is photosystem 1 and another one is photosystem 2. So when the light energy is falling on this system, okay, so what is happening is that the molecules, the chlorophyll molecule is getting excited. What is happening to the chlorophyll molecule? It is getting excited. When they get excited, actually they are losing the energy. They are releasing electrons. What they are releasing? They are releasing electrons. So what is released? Electrons are released. So I repeat again, when the sunlight is falling on, for example, we will start with photosystem 1. Okay. When the sunlight is falling on photosystem 1, in that the chlorophyll molecule which was sitting like this, when the light falls on them, they get excited. Okay, and they release electrons. What they are releasing? Electrons. So this when they are releasing these electrons near this molecules itself, you can find near this molecule there are many primary acceptor molecules present, electron acceptor molecules. What do we call them? We call them as electron acceptor molecules. So many electron acceptor molecules are present which is waiting to accept electrons and get reduced. Okay. So what happens is that when this primary acceptor, when this electron is being released, so these electrons are accepted by whom? This primary electron acceptor molecules. So one molecule is accepting the electrons, they are getting reduced. Immediately after accepting the electrons, they will release it. Okay. So other molecule which is nearby, they will take that electron, they will get reduced and they will release it. So actually what is happening? I will explain. So when the light is falling, imagine this is one molecule A. This molecule, what is happening? It is getting excited, which means they are releasing electrons. This electron is taken by another molecule. Okay, they are getting reduced. What happens? They are getting reduced. And this electrons, when you are seeing, they are accepting, they are getting reduced. Immediately after that, they get oxidized. Means they release electrons. Okay. And again, another molecule which is nearby, they are taking that electron and getting reduced. And again, this immediately they will get oxidized again, and the complete redox reaction will be taking place. Reduction, oxidation, reduction, oxidation. Okay. So here actually what is happening is that these electrons are getting transferred from one molecule to another, which is being produced by the sunlight. The sunlight is falling on the pigment system 1. They are releasing the electron, the molecules. The electrons are accepted by electron acceptor molecules, and thereafter you can find one by one the accepting, releasing, like this the energy is getting transferred, and the energy is coming to one substance which is waiting for this electron. That substance is called as NADP. What is the substance? They is called as NADP. So this substance is waiting when that electron will come. Immediately when the electron, after passing through all these molecules, it is coming to NADP. Okay, they get reduced to what? They get reduced to NADPH2. How they get reduced to? They will get reduced to NADPH2. Okay. So I repeat again. Listen carefully. Bit difficult to understand, but not that difficult. Electrons, sunlight is going and falling on pigment system 1. The electrons are released when this excitation is taking place. Imagine I have got a good news. I have got first rank. So what is happening? I am sitting with my friends. Okay. So I am getting excited. I am transferring my excitation to my friend who is sitting nearby. She is getting excited. Maybe, may not be, I don't know. Anyhow, she is getting excited. You got. She is transferring to the next guy, isn't it? This next friend. So like that, it is getting transferred. At last will be my enemy. Thereafter no friends. So at last someone is accepting and she is very happy for me. So the same thing is happening here. The electrons are getting excited. The electrons are accepted by whom? The primary electron acceptor molecules. You have many electron acceptor molecules like ferredoxin. FD is what? Ferredoxin is one which has been mentioned. So they are accepting. One molecule is accepted, they will get oxidized. Again another molecule will get oxidized. Like that, electrons is getting transferred from here, and at last it is reaching to whom? NADP. At last it is reaching to whom? It is reaching to NADP. Okay. So after reaching to this NADP, you can find this NADP. This NADP, by accepting this electron, is getting converted into what? NADPH2. So 2 electrons are accepted by this NADP and they are getting converted into NADPH2. So one thing has been produced. What is that? NADPH2. I told you for light reaction 3 things has to be produced: ATP, NADPH2 and oxygen. So one is produced. Now listen, when this chlorophyll is giving out this electrons, they are in oxidized state now, isn't it? This chlorophyll here which took the light energy and excited the electrons. Here electron is deficit. Electron is not present. Whether it is present? No. It has been given to the acceptor molecule. They are less. They are not having electrons. So they are in the oxidized. They want to get reduced, isn't it? So what is happening? You listen. Simultaneously it will happen. It's not that this will go there after the other will. No, it's a cycle. It will happen like that. Okay. So what is happening? Listen. Another one. This light is also falling on what? The light is also falling on photosystem 2. Here also the molecules are present. When the light falls, here also you can find the chlorophyll molecules are getting excited. What will be released? Electrons. These electrons, when they are released, the electrons are accepted by whom? I told you, electron acceptor molecules. You can find primary acceptor like phosphatin, thereafter plastoquinone, cytochrome, plastocyanine. These are all electron acceptor molecules. So phosphatin is first accepting it, electrons they are taking it, they are getting reduced, immediately they will release, oxidize, it will taken by whom? The plastoquinone will take electron, they will get reduced, again they will get oxidized, they will transfer the electron to cytochrome. The cytochrome will get excited, isn't it? They are getting electrons, thereafter they will release and it will be taken by whom? That electron will be transferred to plastocyanin. This plastocyanin will accept the electrons, get reduced and then they will get excited and the electron will be transferred to the chlorophyll molecule which lost the 2 electrons. Now they are not having that 2 electrons, this 2 electrons they are getting it. Now this chlorophyll molecule will come to the normal state. Okay, I was excited, now I got the electrons from pigment system 2 and now I will come to my normal state. Okay, so in this what is happening, again I will explain. Sunlight is falling on pigment system 2, electrons are released, the electrons are accepted by the primary acceptor molecules. One by one the molecules are accepting, they are releasing, accepting, releasing, like that the electron is coming to photosystem 1 where the chlorophyll is waiting for the electrons, they are getting the electrons and they are getting reduced, right. So like that the electrons are getting transferred, electrons are flowing from one place to another. Okay, so listen very carefully, when this electrons are passing through this place, what is happening here? The electrons are passing through this electron acceptor molecules. Here you can find one substance is already present, it is not marked, ADP. What is present? ADP. What this, when this process is taking place, transfer, energy transfer, electron transfer is taking place, energy is released. What is released? Energy. This energy is released, is being used by ADP. Who is using that energy? ADP. What is ADP? Adenosine diphosphate is using that energy, taking the energy, they are combining with phosphate by forming a bond, they are combining with this phosphate, a high rich energy rich bond is formed and they are getting converted into what? They are getting converted into ATP. So ADP is converted into ATP. How it is converted? When the electrons are passing downhill, you can find they are coming down, actually they are losing a lot of energy. The energy which is being lost is used by ADP to get converted into what? ATP. So here what is taking place? ADP is getting converted into ATP. Okay, so that is taking place in this place. Why it is taking place? Because when the electrons are moving downhill to PS system 1, the energy which is released by these electrons is being trapped by ADP and it is getting converted into ATP. So here NADPH2 was formed, here ATP is formed. So two things are formed, one is NADPH2 and second one is ATP. Now listen very carefully. When this one was excited, electron was given by this one, isn't it? They gave the electrons. Now this is excited, yes or no? The electrons are gone from them. Electrons are deficit there. They don't have electrons. They want electron now. Who will give the electron? Another pigment system is present. I've learned only two pigment system 1 and pigment system 2. Who is going to give electrons then? There comes water. Who is coming? The water. Okay. Now the role is performed by whom? The water. What the water will do? The water, when you are seeing it splitting up, water, when the light is falling on water, light is falling on water in the chloroplast, this water is splitting up into, hydrogen, okay, 2 electrons and they are splitting up into oxygen. So like that 3 things are released. So what are released? One is hydrogen is released, electron is released and oxygen. When light falls on water, you can find they are splitting up into hydrogen, electrons and oxygen is released. Listen carefully, very important. This three things are released. So one is your electron, right? Second one is your hydrogen, and third one is your oxygen. Now listen, this electrons are taken up by whom? When this water, the electrons are there, that is taken up by this PS system 2, because there were no electrons there. Electrons got excited, electrons were less, deficit. So electron from the water is given to PS system 2. Two more things are there. One is what? Oxygen. Oxygen is released into the atmosphere. It is a gas, so it is released as a byproduct. Process over, oxygen is released. In photosynthesis, oxygen is released at this stage. Okay, when the water is splitting up, oxygen is released. Another one thing is there. What is that? Hydrogen, isn't it? So this hydrogen, where it is going to go? Listen carefully. In this only, you can find here. I told you NADP is converted into NADPH2. Where from that H2 is coming? This H2 is only going and joining with NADP and forming what? NADPH2. So electrons, I will explain once again. So electrons with NADP has to get converted into NADPH2, isn't it? So for that, NADPH2, NADPH2. Okay. So for this process, when you are seeing, electrons are coming from here. Okay, but hydrogen is also needed, H2 should be there. How this H2 is coming? This H2 is coming from water. From where it is coming? It is coming from water. Splitting of water is releasing this H2. This H2 is only going and combining with NADP to form what? NADPH2. Hope it's clear. I will revise once again so that it becomes more clear. Listen students. So what is happening? When the light is falling on pigment system 1, here the chlorophyll molecule is getting excited, they are releasing electrons. The electrons are accepted by primary acceptor molecule like ferredoxin, and slowly the molecules, when the electrons are passing downhill, at last it is reaching home, the NADP, and the NADP is getting converted into NADPH2. Okay. Electrons after accepting, final acceptor molecule is NADP, which is getting converted into NADPH2. First thing is produced. Second, here now the electrons are lost, so electrons is needed. How is this electrons coming? Here, system 2, this pigment system 2, photosystem 2 is getting excited here, the chlorophyll molecule. So automatically what will be released? You can find the electrons are released, which is accepted by electron acceptor molecules. One by one they are transferring the electrons, and the electrons is reaching here. When they are coming downhill, they are having a lot of energy, and this lot of energy is used for the synthesis of ATP from ADP. So ATP is converted into ATP, ADP is converted into ATP. This second process is also over. Now here the electrons are less. How is giving the electrons? The water. Water is splitting up into electrons, hydrogen and oxygen. Oxygen is released, electrons is taken by them, and the hydrogen is going and combining with this NADP to form what? NADPH2. Like this. What is the main aim for this light reaction? The main aim was what? Light is absorbed, yes. Water is splitted, yes. Oxygen is released, yes. ATP and NADPH2 is formed. ATP and NADPH2 is formed. This is non-cyclic. Now there is another one process called as, one more thing I have to say. This process is called as photoposterization. Why this reaction is called as photoposterization? See, ATP is produced from ATP, isn't it? ADP is combining with one phosphate and they are producing what? ATP. Here it is taking place, isn't it? So in this process, when you are seeing light energy, the photons are only responsible. If there is no light, do you think that this process will take place? Addition of the phosphorus to this ADP is taking place because of the presence of that light energy. That's why the term is photoposterization. Photo, light. Posterization means what? Addition of phosphate. So ADP, one more phosphate is added in the presence of light. That's why in the presence of the photon energy, that's why we call it as what? This process as photoposterization. So ADP converted into ATP by the addition of phosphate in the presence of light is called as what? Photoposterization. This whole process as photoposterization is taking place in a non-cyclic manner. You cannot find the cycle is repeated, it's just going like that. It's a process. cyclic. Next, what we are going to discuss, cyclic. Listen very carefully. In cyclic, what is happening? In cyclic, what is happening? Listen. So here only pigment system 1 is involved. Who is involved? Pigment system 1. Light is going and falling, right? After the light is going and falling, the electrons will be released, isn't it? The electrons are accepted by electron acceptor molecules. Thereafter, it has to go like this, isn't it? And then NADP has to be converted into what? NADPH2. This is a normal phase. But here, this is not taking place. You can find when the light is falling over it, electrons are going. These electrons are accepted by this electron acceptor molecule, okay? Thereafter, the electron which is being accepted is given taking this side. The cycle means you can find it is not going that side. Instead, this is accepted by the other electron acceptor molecule which are present over here, and again the electrons is coming over here, and the cycle will be repeated like this. In that, if I am explaining, it would be becoming more clear. See, so here the electrons are being eliminated. So light is falling on pigment system 1, the electrons are eliminated. Primary acceptor molecules are accepting the electrons. Then it is accepted by pheophytin. Thereafter, you can find plastoquinone, cytochrome, then plastocyanin. Again, the electron is coming here. Then again, primary acceptor molecules are accepting. Then these primary acceptor molecules are accepting, and this again plastoquinone, cytochrome, plastocyanin is accepting, and it is again coming like this. So like this, the cycle is being continued. Electrons are flowing in this manner, okay? It is not going here, it is going in this manner. Then this process we call it as what? Cyclic. So when this cyclic process is taking place, when this process is taking place, do you think NADPH2 will be produced? No, NADPH2 will not be produced. Only what will be produced? ATP will be produced, because in this process we have learned, isn't it? So when this process is taking place, what is produced? ATP is produced from ADP. So ATP will be produced, and there is no production of what? There is no production of NADPH2, as well as water will also be not splitted. So this reaction we call it as what? Cyclic photoposterization. What do we call them? Cyclic photoposterization. At times when the wavelength they reach is much, like 700, not 680, much wavelength they are getting, it goes to 700. Usually this process is repeated. When the need for energy is more, ATP is more, at that time also you can find that the plant will be going for this process, that is cyclic photoposterization, in which no NADPH2 produced, no oxygen is produced, only ATP is produced, because they need ADP energy, okay. Now, that is the difference between what? The cyclic and non-cyclic photoposterization, a very important question, okay. So, non-cyclic photoposterization, water is splitted up, isn't it? So, photolysis of water is taking place. So, what is photolysis of water? Water is broken down into hydrogen, oxygen and electrons. So, breaking of water in the presence of light into hydrogen, oxygen and electron is called as photolysis of water. It takes place in the non-cyclic photoposterization, but it does not take place in cyclic photoposterization, okay. So, cyclic, there is no splitting of water. Here there is splitting of water. In non-cyclic, both the system is involved, PS system 1 and PS system 2. But in cyclic, only PS system 1 is involved, PS system 2 is not involved, that electrons are not coming there, okay. Electrons are not cycled. Here electrons are not cycled. Electrons is going, it is being accepted by NADPH2, isn't it? It is going and they are accepting and they are getting reduced. Final product is formed. Electrons are not coming back again. But in case of here, electrons are on roll. They are moving. Okay, that's why electrons released by PS come back. Next, both ATP and NADPH2 is produced, isn't it? So, both ATP or NADPH also you can write, NADPH2 no matter. So, both ATP and NADPH2 is produced in non-cyclic, but here only what is produced? ATP is produced, okay. With this, we are coming to the end of the light reaction, which is divided into two. One is cyclic and another one is non-cyclic photoposterization. Hope it's clear. Very important to understand the concept of what? This light reaction, this cycle, okay. It's very important. You have to know this diagram very neatly. any questions can come from this portion. Okay, thank you.